overwhelmed, trapped in a maze. Small business owner, stress had me in a daze. Every problem piled up, couldn't catch a break. Thought I couldn't make it, my dreams were at stake. But then I found a group that changed my whole perspective. Our success group of a community so effective. We all chasing that dream, sharing struggles and fears. They understood my journey, wiped away my tears. Together we broke through, we rise above. No more feeling stuck, we're fueled by love. Our small business is shining, reaching new heights. With the support of our success group, we're taking flight. Our word is strong, the vision so clear. Building our dreams with no more fear. Together we're resilient, unstoppable force. With our success group. Changed my whole perspective. Our success group, community so effective. We all chasing that dream, sharing struggles and fears. They understood my journey, wiped away my tears. Together we broke through, we rise above. No more feeling stuck, we're fueled by love. Our small business is shining, reaching new heights. With the support of our success group, we're taking flight. Our word is strong, the vision so clear. Building our dreams with no more fear. Together we're resilient, unstoppable force. With our success group.
Hello, everyone. Welcome to Rising Tide Talks. I'm Kylene with Rise, Shine, Smile, and I encourage transformation through positive energy.
I'm Becky Kutzer with BK Custom Tees, and I believe it takes a village to run a business.
And my name's Aaron Montgomery with our Success Group, and we are here to inspire you to fall deeper in love with your business. It's good to be back. I know it's only been a week, but it feels like longer, and I'm sure, Becky, for you, it's felt like even longer.
I don't feel like I've been home for quite some time now. I think we're done running now for, well, at least for a few days.
Yeah, a few days. Why not, right? Anyhow, Becky, what are we going to talk about today?
Today, our subject was on part of the poll that we had, and it came in second per se. So we were talking about work-life balance. And I think this is probably one of those things that we all struggle with or try to tame or whatever. So
Yeah. No, I agree. I'm excited about this conversation just for me, right? I want to learn from the folks that are tuned in live and get everybody to comment. I see everybody is already in commenting. So before Kylene, I turn this over to you for the power of gratitude. Chuck was joining us right at the beginning. Love having Chuck in. We always kind of jokingly like, okay, it's time to start. Chuck's here. Right. And he's always so punctual. So we appreciate you, Chuck, very much. Karen says, I'm grateful for my friends and family. And Chandler is in the building, Rising Tide Talks. And Rena says, happy Wednesday. Looking forward to today's topic. Sarah says, let me get my notebook. Yeah, I think I've got my notebook. And let's see here. So Sarah also says, I'm grateful for my mentors. So. All right, Kylene, I'm going to turn it over to you so we can talk a little bit more about gratitude here.
Yeah. So if those of you that have listened to us before, we talk about gratitude because we want to start by raising our vibration and bringing more good energy to our show, to all of us. Because when we're in that state of gratitude, we're in a state of abundance and we start really looking for the good things that we do have in our life. So truly appreciating what we do have and just realizing what a gift it is that we have those things and putting our energy in appreciating them. So if you're listening and you haven't already shared your gratitude, please share what you're grateful for today. Thank you to those of you that did share already. Becky, do you want to start with what you're grateful for today?
I sure can. I'm actually not stealing because this was what I had in my head before Karen posted it, but I'm also grateful for family and friends. And
Awesome.
as my tagline says, it takes a village to run a business. My family and friends have stepped up to help run the family, as my best friend had been down to watch baseball and took Cora. And then from there, she got transferred to my dad and dad and mom and my aunt or my sister-in-law, her aunt. And now my sister is actually bringing her home.
Oh, wow.
So she's been kind of transferred around and about, but I'm appreciative that they're willing to, take her and keep her and bring her back and and step up when I need them to. So
yeah,
that's awesome.
That is awesome. Cool. I'll go next, Kylene, if that's okay. Okay. All right. Well, a couple things, if I can do multiples then. So I'm feeling really playful today. I've got all my props. So here's the love. We got thumbs up. We've got idea. We've got I love my business. Right. And then I'm also grateful for these pom-poms that Kylene got me. There's a story behind that, but we'll save that for another day. So I'm going to start there. But then I want to share why I'm grateful for how playful I am. I posted in the Facebook group in the Entrepreneur Success Hub over there. So I've been going back to our kind of questions, right? What are some questions we can ask ourselves to get our day started and just really get our mindset right? And today was really about, okay, what action am I going to take that proves I believe in myself, that proves I believe in what I'm doing today? And so I mentioned that a couple projects in the works, and one of them is really kind of putting out this one-on-one consulting program that I've been thinking about and getting Becky pushing me towards it for a long time here. Kylene as well supporting me. And so I kind of soft put that out there, and I actually got somebody to say, yeah, let's do it. So we're working on
that. You better use the pom-poms.
Yeah.
In fact, I haven't even told Kylene yet. I got the email just a little bit ago. And so that's awesome. And now, obviously, proof of concept. Now I can really feel like I can put it out into the world. And then secondly, the other thing I mentioned is trying to, right, like, how do we continue raising the tide? It's awesome. We have these conversations. I love these weekly conversations. But how do we do even more, right? I'm always striving for more. And one of those ideas that I got was to kind of do a roundtable discussion. And so I'm trying to kind of figure out how to make that work. And I said, well, let me figure out how to make it work locally here first. So if I can do it, then we can take it more virtually. And lo and behold, I think Sarah's still in the comments here. We've been talking back and forth, and we're not officially announcing it, but we're officially announcing it. So August 26th at 8020, where we had fun live, we're going to have our first Entrepreneur Success Circle, which is kind of a roundtable discussion. So more details on that, but I'm just really grateful for all of that, right? All of that's why I'm so giddy. So here we go.
Love it.
But,
I love it. That's awesome.
And if you guys could have seen Aaron's face the day I told him he needed to do one-on-ones, you'd have thought he was going to puke.
Was it that obvious? Oh boy.
It was. Well, for me, because I knew you were, I don't know. I think I had said it in passing prior to that, but that day I point blank told you this is what you need to do. Yeah. And you just kind of looked at me like, no.
Yeah. And it was so funny. Yeah. Thank you, Becky, for sure. So grateful for Becky. I think the interesting part about that, right, is you think about it. I mean, I love those experiences. Getting on calls with people and just working through and talking to them and being able to listen and ask questions and use my superpowers. I get jazzed about it. But then to go out and say, okay, here's something I'm going to offer and to do one-on-ones, right? It's that I can only do so much, right? So it's like, we got to make it worthwhile for everybody, and because there is value there. So absolutely. I think that was the hard part. But like I said, now that I've got proof of concept here, yeah. Sarah said we were so giddy today. Yeah, I was dropping by to kind of work out some last minute details and have a quick conversation. And I think about 2.5 hours later, I finally left. So it was awesome.
Yeah,
all right.
That's great.
Yep. Kylene, sorry to take over there, but I just couldn't.
No, that was awesome. I'm glad that you shared all that with us.
Yep.
So for me, I am grateful for my ability to run. My body has been cooperating with me as I'm going through my training plan. I'm training for a half marathon the beginning of October. So I'm getting into some of the longer runs, and I've been able to keep up. It's still not fast. My time's not really changing, but I'm able to do it. And so I'm just really grateful for that time. It's a huge stress reliever. I don't really enjoy the running part, but I feel so accomplished when I'm done, and that I'm keeping a commitment to myself, a goal that I have. And so I'm just really grateful that I have the support of Aaron and Lewis. Lewis will go with me sometimes, which is nice. Now it's getting a little bit longer, so he's not as excited to go with me anymore, but that's okay.
I giggle because when you say support, I does that mean me sitting on the couch watching TV saying, okay, why aren't you out running yet?
It doesn't take a whole lot. I mean, those comments, they do help for sure.
Okay. All
Yeah.
right.
You'll join me one of these days
Yeah.
again.
Yeah. All right. Well,
Not this girl. I'll walk.
Hey.
I walk too. So
All right. Well, this has been really good stuff to get us started. Hopefully you guys, again, pop in the comments what you're grateful for. We want to keep that vibration going, right? We want to keep the vibration really is what it is, right? Though, like it brings in abundance. It just to get to be around people that are grateful for what they have. It doesn't mean that we don't have challenges and problems. In fact, that's what we're going to talk about today. How do we balance all that out? But when you start from that place, man, it's so much easier to find solutions. I tell you what, it's incredible. So Karen says, way to go, Kylene. It takes courage and persistence.
thank you.
And, yeah, thank you. And she also said you're great at it, Aaron. So thank you, Karen. Okay, so let's get into our discussion here. As I kind of alluded to last week, I really was excited to, I kind of feel like I'm a little bit on the listener side because I do struggle definitely with the work-life balance. I'm workaholic by nature, by choice, probably more than anything, but I love doing what I get to do. So, it's hard to kind of pull myself away, but it is really about finding that balance. So, and Kylene, you've kind of done some things to really kind of put your thinking cap on for this one. And so I think Becky and I really want to pop in. Does that sound about right, Becky? It's just kind of be part of the conversation. Okay, cool. So can we turn it over to you? I know you had some questions to ask the listeners to get us started, and then let's talk about this. Yeah.
So just a couple questions to kind of get us all kind of thinking about work-life balance. Just think about, have you ever, found yourself at home or being with family, and then all of a sudden you're checking your work emails and you're feeling guilty then that you're not completely present with your family?
I'll put down my emails. Sorry.
I know I can raise my hand for sure. And then just, do you have that guilt that shows up sometimes when you feel like you're a little off balance and everything's not in alignment? And then really for you, what does balance mean for you in your life? All of us have a little bit different interpretation. So we're going to talk a little bit about work-life balance, what that really means and what it implies, and then how we'll go into like some tips on how we can really improve that balance, or harmony is the word I would like to use with this, because that's ultimately what it is.
So, Kylene, before you get too much further away, though, I'd love to go back to your questions for folks.
Yeah.
That's definitely what I'm really interested in hearing too from everybody. Obviously, yeah. Have you found yourself in those situations? Right. I can answer yes.
I would say we're all in that boat.
Yeah. I think for the most part, especially business owners, right? It's a different animal. If it's the 9 to 5, sometimes it is a little bit easier to like shut it down, but not always, right? We've been there too. So I think that last question though, what does balance mean for you in your life? Because that's the thing I wonder about. Like, what does that mean for folks? What is the ideal world? Like, if you could just create anything that you wanted when it came to your work-life balance, what does that mean? Because to me, I think that means something different than maybe to Kylene, to Becky, to all the folks listening. So, again, I'd love to hear that. And then Becky and Kylene, any takes that you have on my thoughts there?
No, as I have my phone pulled up, I had a text message from my husband. I'm trying to play this balance thing too. So, I agree. Everybody's balance is something different, and finding that is truly the key to being happy or at least feeling like you're happy. I guess that's where I struggle a little bit with, I can tell the weeks that I've put in a lot of hours out here in the shop and maybe not quite so much in the house because I'm feeling a little off and don't feel like I've accomplished what I need to in the house. And then there's other times where I'm like, oh, I really need to get out to work.
Yeah.
I'm not getting done out there what needs to get done either. So
yeah. Okay.
I see Sarah has a message here. She said, to me, it's to be able to breathe and to be there for my wife and kids at every moment possible. That's my perfect work-life balance.
Love it.
I like that.
And Sarah said, I think Erin saw that today with me. Yeah, we're at her place of work and people are coming in to see stuff and talk and all the other stuff. So that was part of it today. Can before we keep going here, Kylene, would you mind me chasing squirrels around here a little bit? Because I saw Michelle and Chuck also put some gratitude in there. So I wanted to go back to that real quick. All right. I'm not doing a very good job of letting you lead, Kylene. So
right.
Work-life balance.
Okay.
Yeah. Let's get back to work, Kylene. Hold on. Michelle says, happy Wednesday. I'm grateful for the rain, 2 inches the last couple of days from none since June. And Chuck says, I'm thankful for family and friends and you three showing up every Wednesday to do this for us when you could be doing something else. I don't know. I don't know if I could be doing something else, Chuck. This is pretty awesome. So I do love chatting with you guys. All right. And then balance means to me, let's see if we get Karen says, balance means having time to stop for a friend that needs a few minutes or feeling okay with not working 7 days a week to catch up. It seems I never get caught up anyways. I honestly wouldn't know what that would look like. So I do take time to stop and visit with someone or feel okay to run an errand. And I need to take time to ride my horse, which is my happy place. So, all right.
I love that. That's great. Yeah.
All right. So back to you, Kylene.
Okay. So, I mean, honestly, society kind of has made us think like balance is like 8 hours of work, 8 hours of sleep, and 8 hours of family time, right? And
other time, yeah.
It just doesn't. It's not realistic. I think, especially as business owners, we know that's it just doesn't happen that way, and we can try to manage it, but there's going to be seasons in our life that are busier than others, and so it's really the word integration kind of comes up, and harmony, blending that work life with your personal life. Because if you're doing what you love to do, obviously there's certain tasks in our day, and owning a business, there's certain things that maybe are not your favorite things to do. But if everything you're doing is connected to your reason, to your why, that should energize you. And then you take that energy into those other areas of your life. And it truly brings more fulfillment. Like Becky was saying at the beginning with balance, when you feel like you have that harmony in your life, you're doing what you're supposed to do, that radiates to other things in your life. You feel better about yourself, then your relationships improve. All those things kind of happen. So I don't know if you guys have any take on kind of that side of it. Because for me, if we're connected and understand what we're doing and why we're doing it, it should fill us up and then kind of filtrate into the other areas of our life.
I think the word that we've been missing that hasn't been said in a while is intentional. And I think if we're intentional with that time, and like I said, we'll talk about some of the ways that we handle that balance after a little bit, but that intentionality of, doing the work that needs to do when you need to do it, but also being intentional to take care of yourself, to take care of your family, take that time with your family or your friends, as Karen said, to take, I've been so thankful and grateful that I was able to rearrange schedules and go, spend a day or two with a friend earlier this summer when she needed it.
Yeah.
And I just, that just, I just think about, corporate world and stuff, and that's not always going to be a possibility for somebody. And so for me as a small business owner, I take my iPad or I take my laptop with, and I can, I was on the road the first couple of days this week and I had my laptop with. I spent the evening, I worked till 12:30 that night, but nobody else was hollering at me. And I kind of got in a groove and I started getting some stuff done. So that's what I did. Intentional about having that time to get that done. And it was okay. Nobody was saying I needed to go to bed. I knew I needed to get up the next morning, but I was okay with that. I had my alarm set and we were good to go. So
yeah. Well, and Becky, I know, you mentioned that, this is an area that you work on too. And I think we all do, even somebody that, we look up to is like, hey, you've kind of mastered this. But I think you really do actually have that though, right? I kind of understand it. I think you've really found that understanding of, I can rearrange my schedule and go be with a friend. And it is, right? So, Karen says, Becky, that's the big plus as a small business owner, flexibility. Right. So, I think I, in a way, the more I've thought about this topic since we said, hey, this is what we're going to talk about here, I, in a way, almost feel like balance is the word that does get us out of whack in this whole thing. Is that implication that, it's got to be level. I think it's more about, are you living your true authentic self at all moments, right? And so when that means going and being with a friend in need, when that means, Karen, being able to jump on your horse and do that, right? Then do that. But then when that means, hey, I need to get after it, because I think about this whole concept of work-life balance too, okay, as you mentioned, Kylene, 8 hours at work, 8 hours sleeping, 8 hours for fill in the blank, right? But there's the life side of things where there's things that we don't love to do either, right? Like, I don't know too many people that really love doing the dishes or laundry or, that kind of thing. Maybe you enjoy that a little bit more than others, but the reality is, I think, like you said, it's just kind of coming from that place of, am I inspired that's what it is for me, right? Like, I feel like I'm back in balance. Like today I felt in balance because I was really inspired. And honestly, I felt like it made me more connected to my family, right? Kylene and I had a great conversation this morning, joking around with Lewis and that kind of thing. So I don't know, that's my take on it for sure.
Yeah.
Go ahead, Kylie.
Oh, I was going to say, I think there's some comments there, but but really, I think the key word in a lot of this is the flexibility that Karen said and Becky said. It is being able to create your dream life. Maybe you got to get the work done, but maybe at this time it's being with a friend, and this time it's okay. Well, I still haven't got that done, so I'm going to get this done because it's important to me. And that's where I think you need to understand, what is important for me. Our seasons change, right? And our priorities do shift over time. And so just remembering a question that came up was, what needs me most right now? Trying to kind of looking at everything holistically, and then maybe that kind of helps gauge how you manage what's in front of you at the moment.
Can I add to that though?
Most
just to be the contrarian here, you guys know that's my thing, because when you start, I love that question. I think that's, what needs me most right now, right? But the problem I see with that, not to try to find a problem in everything, but the challenge that might come from that is then you're always being dragged, right? Oh, well, my family needs me right now. Well, this needs me right now. Well, my business needs me right now. That kind of thing, which understand, right? Like you said, priorities shift. But what if you change that question to, what do I need the most right now?
Yeah.
I don't know. That's just what, as you said that, the alarm started blaring. Hold on. Are we heading down a path that we don't want to? So I don't know. Becky, your thoughts on that? And
I agree. I mean, not that, we look at what's the most important thing being the most important thing and trying to get that, that's what the lists are for and that kind of stuff. But I think it's having that uncommon mindset. Like Aaron, you were talking about the laundry and the dishes, and I haven't done this for a while, but flipping that script a little bit of I have to do those dishes and I have to do the laundry,
Mm-hmm.
and looking at it with I get to because I have a family that's being fed, or I get to
Mm-hmm.
fold the clothes because we have what we need. I haven't done that as well lately, and hearing you say it, I guess, does just kind of spark that. But
Yeah.
I know when I'm going to go fold that load of laundry tonight, it's going to be more with a grateful heart because I'm home and I get to fold it for my family. I
Yeah.
get to be there to help them with the things that they need help with. So
Yeah.
that's where I think part of that balance comes into too, with having that uncommon mindset of choosing what you want to do.
I
Most
love that.
definitely.
And-
Well said.
Yeah, definitely. And
Yeah.
Kylene, I think you're like a really good example of this, right? Like I tease you sometimes that, your favorite thing to do is laundry because you are, and you've always been amazing about that, right? I in the 13 years we've been together, I've never worried about having clothes, right? Like clean clothes. And because I'm the type that will, it's stacking up. I'll get to it when I really have to, right? Kind of thing. And so I think your ability to come to it from that sense of gratitude, I get to do this for my family. That's where's my notebook? I need to write this down.
Yeah, I really think that was well said, and just changing that mindset about it, and just like you said, the word balance really does kind of already kind of skew what we think balance is, and so changing it to integration, flexibility, harmony, whatever it might be.
I think this is where balance becomes the problem. When Sandy says, when I think of balance, I think of the performer balancing the spinning plates. One false move or distraction and you're picking up a mess. And I think that's where, balance kind of puts us out of balance because we are then focusing, okay, I've spent too much time over here. Now I need to go over here and get this done. And so we're trying to have that balance, like we said, and I think we need to change that mindset there again to that flexibility, the intentional, the not balance.
Because that, what Sandy just said, it does create those negative feelings, the shame, the guilt, the failure type mindset, and we're trying to not look at it that way.
Right. Because if you're not feeling like your balance is there, then you've obviously dropped something and it's not working and it's a mess and you're trying to pick pieces back up. So
yeah, I love that. Very good. Okay, so do you guys want to get Karen's comment, or is that
I wanted that one for the second half?
Okay, all right, cool, thank you. And then so I guess Kylene, if you could also just help us in this first section here. So what were we hoping to get across to folks? What was the kind of the idea here about, kind of talking about this?
That we can truly achieve our dreams. Like, it's not impossible for us. Especially as business owners, all those different roles that you play, it can sometimes seem impossible to be successful in it, right? Without letting something drop, right?
Yeah.
So it's just giving everyone that encouragement, reminder, talking about this, letting go of anything, any labels and all of that, and just understanding that it is something possible for you. And it's just kind of creating that uncommon mindset.
Yeah.
Really about it.
I love that. Cool. Do you guys want to get Doug's comment here? But yeah, I'm going to do it anyhow. He says, I love the work I do. It comes with a crazy schedule. It is stressful and can be dangerous. Since I can't control those things, I decided to add things into my day. I have a special needs dog who's always happy to see me, an amazing, soft, adjustable bed to look forward to sleeping in, and I have a Breville espresso machine that makes an amazing latte to wake me up in the morning. So no matter how much my day brings, I always have at least those things that make me happy.
Ooh, that's huge.
Yeah. And I think it is that viewpoint too, right? Like as you pointed out, Becky, we can make anything a chore, or we can make anything an opportunity that okay, I've got these things to look forward to, right? Yes, they're going to be challenges. There are always going to be challenges. That's what allows us to grow. But how we frame our mindset around this whole concept of work-life balance, I think, is so crucial to us. So, all right. Anything else that we needed to cover in this section, Kylene?
No, I think we're all on the same page. I love this discussion. It's great.
It has been great. Okay. Well, should we take a break and then come back for the second part? Kylene, tell us what we can expect in the second part here.
Yeah, just kind of some tools that we can, and how it couldn't really work for us. So we're going to share how to create your own rhythm, if you will, and just the intentionality of creating this for you in your life.
Cool. All right, good. Well, we'll take a quick break. I know you guys will have tired of me talking about this, but it's okay. It's super exciting. I'm already having direct conversations with folks about this event in October. And I can't remember the exact words I used, but basically like the value in coming to an in-person event and what comes out of that, from the relationships, from the learning, from the breakthroughs, from the transformation. Like I can't really describe it. And I think that's the biggest challenge. So we'll see if this promotion tells us a little bit more about it. And then we can answer any questions you guys have from there. So here we go. The Fundamentals Live event is back and better than ever. Our last event was a huge success, and we're always striving to improve. This time, we've made it even more exclusive with only 10 seats available, and we've extended it to be even more valuable. Fundamentals Live is scheduled for October 10th through the 12th, 2024 in St. Louis, Missouri. Details can be found at osg.link/funlive. If you know it's time to transform your business from have to into get to, if you're ready to be more fulfilled and take back control of your business and life, this is the experience you need. October 10th through the 11th, you will put the fundamentals into action and walk away with a blueprint to manage a business that truly fulfills you. If you are feeling overwhelmed and undervalued, reach out to me and let's talk about what villains are holding you back. Don't wait to sign up for Fundamentals Live. October 10th through the 12th is a time you need to come together with other like-minded business owners. I have personally seen the clarity, confidence, and fulfillment this experience will bring you, and we want you to be a part of that. Don't let your hesitation stand between you and the success that you deserve. Reserve your seat today at osg.link/funlive. We'll see you in October. Okay. So who are we going to see in October? That's the big question that we will see Becky for sure, but who else are we going to see? I can't wait. So I'm excited. How about you guys?
Very. There was just, after our first one, and I think we've said this before, we knew what it could be, but until it's been experienced and until we were able to have that first one, there was just no way to describe that. And I mean, to have the people that were there continue to show up for us in a daily, weekly basis is phenomenal for me.
Yeah. I think just that connection that you have, it's almost Sarah said I might pop in. I hope so.
Yeah. And I feel like with our small group that we've kept there, I think everybody came in. This last group, obviously there was quite a few of us that knew each other. I use quotes there because we were all friends via technology. I think at that point had acquaintances via technology. Mm-hmm. And I think we all left feeling a little more like we had an extended family.
Yeah.
Well, Sarah and I were talking about it today, just, how not only were we able to experience so much transformation during the time that we had together, but how that continues to look, right? Like, we talk about things, different things along the way, because we'll get together, and so we do follow-up calls as part of the program. And so, we get together, we're talking about things, and people are bringing out their workbooks, right? Like Sarah and I were talking today, she had her workbook there, and like, oh yeah, I got to work on that part. Yep, I've been working on this, and so to see not only, I mean, again, we can share all this information in lots of different ways, but to be able to, because like somebody at the first one was like, I was talking about the workbook and they're like, oh, but can I buy the workbook? I'm like, no, it doesn't do you any good unless you come get the experience, right? Because if you don't match it with the experience, then it's just pages of filling out stuff that doesn't really move you anywhere. So we want transformation, not sales.
Yeah.
Sarah says it takes a village as well. We all find our village.
Yep, that's right.
Yeah.
That's right. Okay,
And we
Kylene,
want
yeah, love it. All right, well, Kylene, get us into the second part here. Where do we start? Again, maybe reiterate to folks kind of what the plan is for the rest of our show here today.
Yeah. So this is the part where we all get to share, I hope, because we all can learn from each other in this area. And this is really how we create this harmony or rhythm in our life, especially when those busy seasons happen. So we are curious, do you have any tools that you use to help you during those busy seasons when you really feel pulled in all different directions? What kind of tools are you using? Some of you already kind of shared that in what work-life balance means to you. But if anyone else wants to share, or you have some more tools to share, please share, because we can learn from each other here. And we're going to share some ideas, some tools that we've used that's really helped us, because we are going to have busy seasons. Like Aaron said, we're going to have challenges. We're going to have hard things that happen. And it's just choosing how to respond to those as we continue to move forward, to find our own rhythm and harmony and create that uncommon mindset for ourselves, so we can have that success. Yeah. So what tools do you guys want to start us off with? Some tools that maybe you use to kind of help manage all of the things that happen? That was for you, Becky.
I know. Every now and then it still catches me, and it just makes me giggle when we say that. I didn't know I ever said it, but it's right.
Nice. So. Go ahead, Becky. I'll let you start.
So for me, my top two right now that are working the best for me are my Fun 5 in my planner. So I don't know if that counts as two, because my Fun 5 and my planner are two separate things, but my planner has my list wherever I'm at here. Yes, there's a couple blank days because I was traveling and there wasn't anything I could do about it. But the last one I just implemented recently, and it was after Aaron and I were talking, and I have now set an end of day timer. I think Michelle said in here somewhere, right here. She says, every day is different for me. My husband is understanding that I have to do computer work at night sometimes. Right. Every day is different. And that was the same for me. I had days of baseball every day where I was leaving at 2:00 in the afternoon, So when I would come out, or even the night before, I would be looking at my day ahead. Okay, if baseball starts at 2:30, I need to leave by this time. What time can I tell to get done what I need to get done?
Yeah.
So I've set the end of day timer. Even like today, my work day ended at 4. My timer was set at 4. I gave myself 10 minutes to close up, finish what I was doing. I gave myself a break between work and even tonight, because I needed that time to not be worried about all the things that are on my list. All the things. It's back to you, Kelly. We should play a game. See how many times we say it.
Just let's not make it a drinking game.
But I needed to have that mental break between the things I had been working on all day to focusing to this, to be present for today. So I took time and went in, had a snack, and got away from the computer, and having that end of the day timer set was the key to making sure I took that time to reset.
Yeah.
So those are my top two, is my Fun 5, our Fundamental 5 list of the 5 most important things that you're getting done. I didn't explain that very well when I said it. What's the top 5 things, top 3 things, whatever it is that you need for that day, that would be what would move you forward for that day. And then my end of day timer. So.
Wow. Good stuff.
Powerful. Yeah.
Yeah. And we've talked on here in earlier programs back when it was OSG Live. I think you had a whole segment about Fun 5. So if you're interested in more details on that, reach out to us, and I'll find where that was and send you right to the link if you want to dig into that. But yeah, and that's also a big part of the book is the fundamental 5, or fun 5 as Becky calls it. I like that.
I'm going to grab Karen's earlier comment right now, because this is kind of where I was leading it with, where she says, I feel like I need to learn to spend productive time getting something done that's part of my why, instead of always putting out brush fires and just being busy. And I think that's where the fun 5 can play into, you know, if you want to get one thing done that day, then put it on the list, you know, put it number 1 on the list, or there, so it gets done.
Yeah. And one other quick note, I think we talked about actually the fun 5 a little bit last Saturday, Kylie, if I remember correctly, is to really understand though that is about making the most important thing, right? So your fun 5 list should probably not include, hey, let's go to the grocery store, I gotta do, right? I mean, yes, I know you got to get things done, but the fun 5 is really like, what's going to get me closer to where I want to go? And, you know, so if going to the grocery store is that, okay, I guess, but is that really right? If you're
that can be your house one, or your home one, your personal one. You can have a personal fun 5, which is something I have yet to implement, but but if, as far as a work one, correct.
Yeah. I have a fun 5 that's like, that is the fun 5, the fundamental 5. But then I also have a to-do list, right? Okay. Those are the 5 most important things. But yeah, I do need to go get groceries. I need to, you know, this, that, the other thing. So if I can have some of those, so I get that though. I think that's really good.
Yeah.
Not to get us off track, but that's what I do, Jason. Squirrel. I saw this from Michelle, so I wanted to, still excited about Fundamentals Live. So she says, I highly suggest it if you can attend Fun Live. I agree with Becky. Okay. So there was another one in here too that I saw. Maybe it was Sarah's here. She says, Google Calendar is my best friend during busy season, and then also communicating with people in my life that I may need some help keeping it straight. And Michelle kind of echoed some of that and some of what you talked about there too, Becky. Planners, checklists, asking for help. If we can just talk about this real quick here. Planner, like you talked about, Becky, right? But then checklists, I think, are also important, because there's one thing to have like a to-do list that I've got to get this done. But to me, a checklist is a little more forgiving. I'm like, okay, I want to make sure that every day I meditate. For me, on my checklist is trying to make sure I drink enough water, not drinking soda, eating more vegetables, right? Like just kind of some reminders, but I don't beat myself up. Oh, I had a Coke today. Okay. Not great, but it's not the end of the world. So like, I'm just trying to get more good than, the potential downfall other side of it. So to me, at least, I think a checklist is more forgiving than a to-do list. For me, when I've got a to-do list and I don't accomplish something, I do feel a little more defeated. But when the checklist is there and I go, I missed that one today, for whatever reason, I give myself a little bit more, grace or space, I guess, in that. So any thoughts on that?
I mean, I think with all of this, it's being intentional with what's important and staying back connected with your reason or your why. Yeah. I mean, all of what we're doing here, it has to somehow be connected to that, so we have that internal fulfillment as we continue to move forward. So, the planner, the checklist, the to-do list, the fun 5, all of those are great things. And as long as you're intentional about how you're using them, I think they can be really powerful as getting things out of here, down here, so you don't miss something and forget them.
Yeah. And I think that's why I get so excited about what we get to do here inside of the OSG community as a whole. But what I get to do each day is all these things are part of, I'm so glad that you brought the word back up, because you're right, Becky, we hadn't used it enough lately, just that intentionality. And that's the whole point, right? That's the whole point of the book is let's intentionally create a business that works for me, right? That works for you versus, oh, somebody did it this way, I should be successful at that. Doesn't always work, right? So the same thing goes for how we're creating work-life balance, right? Like Becky's going to do it this way, and I don't think you should go out there and go, I mean, I can learn from Becky. I can try to implement some ideas, but there might be some things that don't work for me per se. And I go, okay. I was talking to somebody in a group the other day. The question came up about, using a planner and which ones do you like? And I'm like, I've been such a planner holic since, this is back to my early 20s, and that's been a long time. We'll just leave it at that. My early 20s, I was into planners. Franklin Covey, every single one of them, all the planners I could find and get my hands on. I've purchased them. I've tried them. I've, transferred from one system to the next. And until I created my own that worked for me, none of them ever stuck. And so I think that whole idea is important for us to see that this is about intentionality.
Yeah. Yeah.
Okay. And I know there's some other comments in there, but we can. Oh, sorry. I'm doing such a good job of letting you lead, Kylene.
I love it.
No, the other comment that Michelle put in there is asking for help. So I'd love to hear you guys take on that, because I think what I've seen for myself and what I've seen in other people, when the going gets tough, we got to hide, right? Because we should be perfect. My curated Facebook, Instagram, blessed life is tarnished. Therefore, I need to go hide and do this on my own until I get my stuff together. Right? Like, that's the way I felt. That's the way I've seen people react. I think Michelle's comment there, to me, was probably the biggest part of all that. Planners, checklists, all that stuff is fantastic and can get us there. But that last bit, asking for help. So,
yeah.
Kylene, what's your take on that?
Yeah, that was one thing. Having those accountability partners, like Masters of Success, for me is great. But the people you surround yourself with, you want to make sure that they have your best interests at heart. Knowing that if you, like Becky said at the beginning, what she was grateful for, it took her village to make that busy week happen.
Yeah.
She has intentionally, I'm going to use the word again, built these relationships and kept them healthy. And therefore it does work. So when we're intentional with the people that we're investing our time with, we really can ask for help when we need it, because we could help them out when they need it. And it's this mutual beneficial relationship that's genuine.
Yeah.
And then just the accountability partners, sometimes it just takes someone to ask you, how you doing on that? And then you're like, oh gosh, I said that was really important and I haven't got there yet, and it just keeps you kind of moving forward. Is the best way I think I can put it.
Yeah. Becky, what about you?
I agree. I was going to mention the Masters of Success also, because I feel like that is, I know the last few times for our meetings, I haven't had much of an ask, and yet I still take things away from those meetings. Still setting goals. I know I've been a little bit lax at that right now because I feel like I've just been chasing my own tail and I haven't been home. But
that's just part of the cycle, though. Yeah, for sure.
And it is. It totally is. But I also know that I can turn to those same groups the next time my ask is loud and I need something, or I don't know where to go. I know we've, the Slack check-in stuff, I haven't been on there. That's a little bit of my own busyness, plus maybe not feeling like I'm not doing everything I've been saying I was going to do. So there I am hiding a little bit.
Yeah.
So I think that this feels like, that's just natural. That's kind of how we do.
Sure.
But yet I've been trying to answer questions and different things that pop up in there. So I'm still there. I just know for myself, that's where I've been. And that is that hard part of asking for help. I, as much as I've learned it, there's still time that you have to learn to ask for more. So
yeah,
it is hard to do, Sandy. I agree. It's definitely, she says, I definitely have a difficult time asking for help. So
yeah. And I think what I'm hearing from you guys too, which is totally true, is this, again, going back to being intentional about it, right? Like when we say asking for help, it's not just, oh my gosh, I'm having a meltdown in the grocery store, let me ask this stranger for help, right? Like, it may be that, but but I think the reality is what we're trying to say is let's be intentional about building those, like Kylene talked about with you, Becky, right? You had that opportunity, but that also came from you building those relationships to a point where it wasn't, yeah, I can do that, right? Yeah, I feel comfortable,
Mhm.
giving my daughter to a friend, having that relationship with, like, I know people that do struggle with those relationships a little bit, and that's fine. So they've created other different kinds of intentional relationships, right? That's the whole point of the Masters of Success is we're there from a space of, hey, we're going to hold each other accountable, right? We're going to tell you the hard things when we need to tell you the hard things, but we're also going to be your biggest cheerleaders. We're also going to be there to, hey, you need a different idea, a different way to look at that. Okay, let's do that, right? And so, it just, that intentionality is definitely what it comes back to, I'd say.
Yeah.
I've got a couple from Karen. I want a quick comment on
Yeah,
here.
for sure.
She said that she goes, I do the Fun 5 daily. However, I found I need to write down what I actually did. It really shows me that I'm still a slave to working on the thing that pops up in front of me. And I think that's where, Aaron, with your planner between your Fun 5 and your checklist stuff, I know I use my Fun 5 more for what things do I need to get done that day, not always what is it that's going to move the business forward. I mean, those things move the business forward, but do I need to relook at that just a little bit on how that is right now? It's working for me because that's what I need to do. I can see in the future trying to change that and adjust it a little bit. So maybe the Fun 5 number 1 is always going to be, or needs to be, that one thing that'll work on the business as opposed to in the business. But, and then Karen said, she goes, I moved several states away from family and my support system. It's finding that help where I'm at that's difficult in the place I live now. And I feel that, Karen, because my best friend moved. It's probably been 7 or 8 years now. The girls are 9, almost 10, and I think they were 2 when they left. But when that person that is your support system is gone, it's hard to rebuild that relationship. I mean, you're never going to replace your family and your original support system, but and my guess is, Karen, that you're talking about people needing help for your business or something like that. But I've also learned that having the virtual ones of Kylene and Aaron and Tanya and different people that are virtually with me are ones that I can lean on also when I need help for something.
Yeah, I think it just looks a little different sometimes, right? And that's where you come back to being flexible and adapting to that change, which is hard, but we can do it.
Yeah. And those support systems build over time, right? It's not, I need a new support system. Snap your fingers, and now everybody's running to, because they got to get to know you. They got to understand where you're coming from. You guys have to mesh, right? Like, I've lived here in St. Louis for what, 15 years now, Kylie, something like that?
14, I think.
Yeah. And I'll be honest, I don't have that great of a support system here because I was never intentional until just recently about trying to build that. My support system, the people I hung out with, were on the computer screen, or they were at the trade shows in the different states that I would go to, and things like that. So, until recently, I was like, boy, I really need to do more with that. And so I've been intentional, right? I go to a men's group on Friday morning, and those guys are becoming my brothers. I get out to volleyball, and I make sure that I'm building relationships with the people I'm playing with or coaching or being a part of. But I know it's not going to happen overnight. We just got to keep working at it, right? I'm going to do this roundtable thing with Sarah, right? And so hopefully building some relationships and support systems there. And so I know it can be hard, but it does take action from us, right? You can't just sit and wait and hope that somebody's going to show up for you.
Intentional.
Yep. Intentional. 100%. All right, Kylene.
Yeah.
Can you?
Are you really though?
I'm not, but I tried. No, I probably didn't even try.
This is your passion. It's all good.
Yeah.
This part, I think, is a really important part, and it's kind of been alluded along our whole conversation so far, but self-care, filling up your cup so you can be there for others in your business. You can't give from an empty cup. And that self-care, it's not a bad thing. We know when we're doing the things in our life that make us feel good, right? Being intentional about socializing, being intentional with making new friends, being intentional with spending time with your family, eating better, exercise, walking. And then when life gets really busy, what do we give up? We give up all those things that were helping us thrive and vibrate at that higher frequency so we could show up our best selves in all those different situations. So I'm guilty of this too, but it's really being keeping those habits that make us feel good is really important. So you can fill yourself up, recharge, re-energize, so you can have that creativity and the energy to keep moving forward, especially in those busy seasons. Now, it might look a little different than it did before you got into that busy season. Maybe it's a little bit shorter time, or maybe it's once a week you have coffee with a friend instead of twice, whatever it might be for you. It's still something that you keep going in your life because it is important. If we let all that other part of our life go, our body is going to respond in a negative way. And then guess what? We have more stress again. We have those negative feelings. So that self-care is so important. I don't know what you guys think about that.
Yeah. Well, and real quick, I'll just add on to that too, that
Mhm.
momentum becomes so important in those habits, right? The second we let go of those things, it's much harder to get going again because, we just don't, because you also said, what makes you feel good, and be careful of that, right? Like eating ice cream every night makes me feel good. Is it really gonna, improve my future self? And unless my intention is to be really overweight, then I don't know. So,
Yeah.
but yeah, I think that's really important, and I think that's an area that I don't do a great job in. So I am excited to listen and learn. But Becky, what are your thoughts on that?
I don't know that I can speak on this right now because I've not been very good with the self-care side of life. But I agree with Kylene that that's the first stuff, when you start implementing some of that stuff, it's also the first stuff that goes out the door faster than anything. And it really shouldn't. It should not be the first thing that goes out the door.
Yeah.
Your customer maybe needs to wait an extra day or two,
Yeah.
when life happens. And instead of us rearranging our schedule to make theirs work, we undo everything that we've done. So,
Yeah. And like I said, it could look different. Maybe if you're used to always having that evening walk or something like that, well, now work here in the busy season and you have to put in a few more hours that day. Well, maybe you have little shorter walks throughout the day, or maybe, who knows, it just somehow you're still engaging in an activity that really releases the stress, is really what I think all of this is, so we can recharge.
Yeah. And I think from that place too, ultimately some of these things that we're talking about here, we have to make a commitment, right? We have to be committed to what is when we're being intentional about designing our business and our lives the way that we want them to, so that we do have this work-life balance, then what are your non-negotiables, right? Like what is there not a question about? Like, okay, if it is the walk, if it is the reset, if it is the, you had some other things in here, just trying to find those things that are a non-negotiable for you. What I found to be a real great non-negotiable for me is just starting my morning with some sort of quiet meditation, using the Bible app and going through the daily devotional kind of thing. That's been something that I've implemented that has really made me feel more connected, more balanced, more true to myself. And so do I do it every single day? No, the app will show you that but I'm on a 24-day streak, so I'm feeling pretty good.
Yeah.
Some days better than others, right? Some days it's like, oh yeah, I opened it. Okay, good. But so I don't know. That's what I'm hearing. Does that sound, Becky? Does that sound right? Or Kylene, any other thoughts there? Becky, go ahead. Sorry.
No, I mean, I agree that starting your day, I mean, again, it's about making that most important thing. And if you're needing meditation or some certain way to start your day, to start your day off right, make that day go the rest of the way, that's what you need to do.
Yeah.
Yeah. Or maybe it's at the end of the night, you watch a funny show and you laugh, or you have silly time. Like Lou and I will play with a balloon. Aaron loves it around the house.
My least favorite thing. I must,
But
I must
but
have
it-
broken something when I was a kid in the house, and that's why I'm so super sensitive to it. But
it could be, but you sure get upset at first when you hear it. You see it on your face.
Yeah.
But no, like for me, like it's having that connection, like that is uninterrupted time where we can be silly, and that releases a lot of stress for me to keep moving forward. So again, all of this, we all recharge in different ways. And so these are just ideas of things that you could do to create that harmony again, for yourself. And that is that work-life balance.
Yeah. Yeah. I know we're already over our allotted hour, or maybe even more allotted than we had. I think we talked about 45 minutes at some point, but this was just too good, you guys. So Angela's got some comments here. I think I'd love to chat about it here. So,
Sure.
Angela says, I've been struggling mentally. It's been really hard. I've become non-productive, which makes the downward spiral worse. But when you're in a certain place, it's hard to talk yourself into it. So, and I think that's a big part of this too, is part of this balance of, Kylene, you and I talked about it this morning, this concept of gratitude and grace versus accountability, and how do you find that balance right there? There's another kind of bit of work-life balance. So, Becky, can I throw this to you first and to get your thoughts on it?
Oh yeah. So when I look at that, and I've struggled too. I mean, that's, again, I haven't been on Slack because here we are.
Yeah.
But
Absolutely.
I also know that, we always start this show with gratitude, and I know that I can't be mad. I can't be upset. I can't be angry when I'm grateful. So when I get to that point, it's, can you find one thing you're grateful for? Can you find two? Can you find three? Maybe it's five, whatever it is, to start that momentum, even finding that one at that time, and, spending 5 minutes just being grateful for whatever it is, will change your mindset, will change your mood, will bring that vibration back up a little bit. So yes, is it hard to do in that moment? It very much is. But that's the one thing that I've been trying to bring myself back to is, day was crappy the other day. What could I do about it? I went and bought school supplies. and then I'm sitting
retail
there going,
therapy.
Well, not really, because
Wasn't for you, but okay.
is not retail therapy in my opinion. But but I was going to have to do that this week when I got home.
Yeah,
I now had an uninterrupted several hours to myself, so we went and made it happen.
Yeah,
so
got productive. Love it. Just real quick before you dive in, Kylene, Angela says, so true. I love being grateful. I just love you guys. Right back at you, Angela. So go ahead, Kylene.
Yeah, I was just going to say, first of all, Angela, thank you for sharing that. And that's, you just sharing that is a form of asking for help from us. You have your group, you have your community, and using gratitude in that moment, it is so powerful. It is really just kind of almost impossible to be negative, and grateful at the same time. So gratitude is really powerful, and just being grateful that you have all of us you can reach out to if you need it. You're grateful that you have shelter, you have this, it doesn't have to be anything super big. It can be grateful. I have this really cool pen. Thank you, Becky. I really do love this pen. It can be the little things that in that moment, that's what you can grasp for. That's what's right in front of you. There is that exercise we learned about. It's the rampage of appreciation.
Yep.
So when you are feeling this kind of down and you're just not really sure what to do next, just just look around at the things that you can see that you're grateful for. I'm grateful for my water. I'm grateful for this cool pen. I'm grateful for this chair. All these little things can build that momentum to try to bring us out of that negative headspace.
Yeah.
Real
quick on that, Kylene, the rampage of appreciation. You really want to make that powerful for yourself, and there's brain science to back all this stuff up. But like you said, I'm grateful for my water, grateful for this, right? Just all the little things. Grab a piece of paper or note card or a Post-it note or whatever, and start writing that stuff too. That act of writing just does something to our brain. And like you said, when you're grateful, it's impossible to be upset, right? It's impossible to be in that low state. So, yeah, I think, and so I'm grateful for this pool float right now that I'm sitting on, right? So that's exactly it, right? You've got that. It's that story of the kid who, and I won't get it right, but I'll butcher it anyhow. He was got a beat up old pair of shoes, and he was grateful to have shoes, right? And then the next guy was, grateful to just have one shoe because he was missing a foot or so. Yeah, I mean, like there's always something that we can be grateful for sure. So, and then I'll add this too is, so we kind of talked about this in our mastermind yesterday, and I won't get into all the details because that was personal between us and our mastermind group. But there's this concept that came up yesterday of progress over results, something to that effect, right? And that's the other part, because you talked about like I become non-productive, and I do that same thing. When I feel non-productive, then I get even lower in vibration, and man, it's just so incredible to go, hold on a second, let me think about the progress, right? So Angela, for you, for example, I know the progress that we've been able to witness the progress. So hopefully you can see the progress as well, and focus on that progress and being grateful for that, and then see how your productivity comes back around, because we get that dopamine hit of, oh yeah, I am grateful for the progress. I am, you kind of get that shoulders back up a little bit, and that dopamine hit immediately makes you go, okay, I want more of that. I'm going to go do something productive right now because I want another hit of that. It's so funny, but really our brains, especially from the subconscious level, it's just a drug addict, and the drug is dopamine. So if we can understand that, we can make a lot of really intentional changes in our lives that allow us to move beyond a lot of things.
Yep.
So anything else that we missed there, you guys?
I don't think so.
We hit a lot of things.
Angela's last comment, I was laughing about it. She says, yes, I'll take the dopamine hit over being a dope any day. There we go. Man, what a great discussion, you guys. Okay. Well, Kylene, how are you going to close us out here today after all of that amazing stuff?
It was an awesome conversation. It's always inspiring, and thank you guys all for being a part of it. We can share insights and grow together, and just remember we're not alone. So keep reaching out into our Facebook group, the Entrepreneur Success Hub, at osg.lang/group. And any key takeaways, if you want to, from our conversation today, if you want to keep the conversation going, join us over there. If there's something else that's kind of on your mind and you want to discuss, share it on there. It's full of amazing people, and we'd love to engage with you guys over there.
Yep. Angela says the best part is I'm not alone, 100%.
Yep.
Well, my reminder for you guys is the secret that we've talked about this show and many of the past ones is just taking consistent, productive, let's add that word back in, Becky, intentional action daily, right? When we're tending to our mindset, right? We're grateful, we're doing those things. When we understand why we're doing them, or at least we're working towards this understanding why we're doing things. When we have a goal, we make the most important thing the most thing. We embrace as much focus as we can in this attention stealing world that we live in today, right? Those small steps that you guys take each day will lead you to significant progress. Action beats inaction every time. All right, that's a definitive statement that I'm proud to make. Action beats inaction every time. So, as Kylene said, we just invite you guys to keep the conversation rolling over in the group. I'm putting questions in there. I sometimes feel like I'm talking to myself a little bit, so I'd love to see you guys get involved in the conversation a little bit more. Let's keep getting deep and love that interaction that we have over there in the group. I will put it back up one more time here for us. osg.link/group will get you there.
Very good. And do we know what our topic is for next week?
So we did that poll, and there was 3 things on the poll. So I guess the third thing on the poll was this idea of a second brain.
Okay.
And so we'll break that down. It might not be as in-depth and wonderful as this was, but I'll do my best to break that down for you guys. It's just really an idea of like, what's your system and how do we think about that as our second brain, so to speak. I listened to a podcast a while back where somebody actually wrote a book about your second brain, a digital second brain, and what that should be all about. And I've kind of latched onto that idea with my Asana planning system, my planner, the different things like that. So we'll talk about that next week.
I think it will be. Angela says, how about a second set of hands? That would be wonderful too. So finally, let's not forget about community. We're all in this together. And by sharing your experiences and learning, we can learn from each other. I know Erin has always said in our Masters of Success group that the simple answers, the beginner's mindset is sometimes what we need. Yep. And I believe that to be true, because sometimes we are trying to look so far into the forest that we don't see that first tree that we're going to hit our head on. So
cool.
I believe we're there. That's what everybody is there to help us do. So don't hesitate, like Erin said, to engage in our Facebook group and ask the questions, answer questions. We want to hear from you guys. Let's build that supportive network, and remember that the rising tide lifts all boats. So
awesome.
Thanks, guys, for tuning in. This was an awesome conversation, and we're going to have a great week.
Yes, we are. High five to that. All right. See you guys next week.
All right.
Guys,
bye, everybody.